Hi everyone, I'm John Haidt, General Manager for Warcraft, and with me today are my friends Ian Hazzakostas, who is the Game Director for World of Warcraft, and Holly Longdale, who leads up the production team for WotLK Classic. I really appreciate you tuning in. I know we're really excited to be able to give you updates on what's happening in World of Warcraft. For our next adventure in World of Warcraft, we're going to go back to Azeroth. We're going to a space with high fantasy. I mean, our fans have asked for this for a long time. This has been kind of the foundation of much of the lore of WoW. So without further ado, let's watch the cinematic.
Whoa.
The world has been sundered. It cries out in pain. We must go to its aid. We entrust our ancestral home to you, the Watchers.
To są ci Titanforged.
Let the land slumber, hidden even from our own eyes. You will feel our return in the waking of the land. Then you must light the beacon of Tearhold, lest the path home be lost to us forever.
Dragonflight, muzyka z Dragonflight. Path of the Titans, o matko święta. O cool. Czy to jest tyr? Jest! Jest Joda! Mamy to! So small. Oto są. A to są aspekty? To jest Alex Trash, Alno z Dormu.
The world is healing. But her fate is yet uncertain. Together, we shall be Azeroth's protectors once again. Here, the new age of dragons shall begin.
Jest, to było to logo. Mamy to, Dragonflight. Mamy, o kurde, no dobra, okej, no mamy. Jezus, dodatek o smokach będzie?
Dragons. This is so
Naprawdę,
cool.
jestem
No
w
one saw
szoku.
it coming.
No one saw it coming. Carefully kept secret. But seriously, I mean,
Serio?
what did we just see there?
The awakening of the Dragon Isles,
Oj, to
the
specjalnie robią.
return of dragons, the dawn of a new age. Right, we've seen Rathian searching for his father's legacy, searching for the Dragon
Rathian.
Isles. There's a reason why he hasn't been able to find them until now.
The beacon going off, is that summoning the dragons?
It is removing the concealment that had hidden the Dragon Isles from the world, but
Okay.
also
Jak Pandaria?
beckoning the dragons back urgently in a time of need.
I assume pretty good variety of
Dragonite.
locales within the Dragon Isles. It's
Yes, the Dragon Isles, as
Wow.
kind of standard for WoW expansion, consist of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone that we'll get to in a second.
Can you talk a little bit about how the team found ways to thread the dragon aspects throughout the environments?
The Dragon Isles are a place that is lush and primal, bursting with elemental energy. As Azeroth herself reawakens, those primal forces are expressed throughout the environment, whether it's magma activity, volcanic activity, whether it's the icy wastes of the Azure Span.
nie
And each one of
nazwaliście
those
dodatku
has a connection
Awakening?
to a Dragonflight that we've seen before. And it's going to be an amazing place for players to arrive at and explore.
all right. You know I'm going to ask.
Yes, okay, so
Can I be a dragon?
let's start getting into some features here and what
Okay.
Dragonflight means for you as well as just a place. So first off, yes, we have an all-new
Oh,
playable race,
cool.
the drac'thyr race.
Yeah.
This is a dragon, a
było
draconic
to.
race, but dragons
było
in
to.
Warcraft have the ability to take on a humanoid form.
What classes can they be?
They have
What?
unique abilities as literally a dragon.
What?
That doesn't quite fit any of our existing classes. And so what we're doing is this is not just a new race, but it's also a new class. You know, adding a new race to World of Warcraft, and not just an allied race, is something that we don't do lightly, but telling this expansion, this story, so focused around dragons, felt like the perfect time for it. So if you were a
Okay.
drac'thyr, you will be the evoker class.
Evoker
Drac'thyr can only
class.
be evokers, evokers can only be drac'thyr. And the reason why only a drac'thyr could be an evoker is that an evoker is really combining the ability to call upon the magic of the different aspects with the unique physical gifts that a drac'thyr has. The ability to actually take flight and do an Onyxia-style strafing
Oh,
deep
cool.
breath over the battlefield, land on the other side, knock everyone back with a wing buffet, and then unleash your magical abilities.
Okay.
Yes, please.
The evoker has 2 specializations.
Brzmi jak
They're a
Democrata.
hybrid of either range DPS or healer. And they wear male armor. We figured, you know, with the new hero classes we've added over the years, we have enough melee, we don't need more of those. And
Okay,
also
to
probably don't need
spoko.
any more leather wearers.
The raid leaders are going to love you for that.
Exactly. This is definitely a hero class. And so that
Okay.
means that, you know, like the Death Knights before them or Demon Hunters, they will be starting level 58. And then they're going to have a new starter zone. So they're going to have a slightly different journey into the Dragon Isles as opposed
58.
to the rest of us that are sailing there from other parts of Azeroth.
Can you talk a little bit about the customizations? Like what is going to be able to identify my drac'thyr character?
Basically anything and everything. You know, skin color, hair color, jewelry, tattoos, other adornments. You can make this character the expression of your identity in Azeroth.
New zone, new class,
Yep.
new race. Well, tell us about some of the system updates or
Nowego.
features.
Of course, the new expansion brings with it, you know, new systems, new features. I think in recent expansions, one of the things we've tended to do is
uwaga.
really have these deep features
Uwaga.
that were closely tied to a specific expansion that would then get left behind as we moved on. And we've heard loud and clear from players that, you know, it's kind of a bummer to start off every new expansion by leaving a large part of your character behind, by leaving a large part of your progression behind. So this time around, what we're doing is really pouring all of our energy into permanent revamps, overhauls, and improvements to World of Warcraft's core systems. Things like our progression systems, in this case, our talent system is something that we want to completely revamp. We want to take a look at our UI. We want to take a look at professions.
So with the talent revamp and the arrival of Classic, did you learn anything about how our talents work?
I think seeing a new generation of players play with those talents and work through those talent trees really underscored some of the things that, frankly, we lost when we shifted to the Mists of Pandaria style talents and beyond. A big piece of that was just the granularity, the feeling of getting a level and spending a point to customize your character to make yourself a bit better in some specific way. But also, that sense of hybridity that you could have. That's something that we've largely lost. And so the new talent system avoids directly pitting player power throughput choices directly against those sort of utility hybrid choices, because we know that there's always a right outcome there. And we also understand that there's a lot of strength in the flexibility of the modern talent system to let players customize their talents for a particular encounter or for dungeons versus PvP, and we don't want to lose any of that.
So John, UI?
Oh my God. Yes, I got this 30-inch monitor trying to keep track of where I am on the map, all my buffs, and over here, what's going on in chat. It has literally made my eyes go like this. So,
you're not alone in that. We've made a lot of incremental changes and additions over the years, but really this is a revamp, this is an overhaul. And so we're excited to really modernize the look and feel while staying true to the origins of World of Warcraft. Now, at the same time, we're not looking to take away the sort of power user customization there. Add-ons are still there if you want them, but we want a much better default out-of-the-box experience for all players, new and old alike.
And can I reduce elements, remove elements, if I want to explore the world and see the beauty of Azeroth?
When it comes to specific elements, as much as possible, we want to let players choose what to show and what to hide so that they can control it themselves.
You mentioned professions.
Professor.
I have a critical question about this.
Go on.
Can I wear a chef's hat?
Yeah, I knew it.
Our approach to professions in Dragonflight is really all about delivering on fantasy and identity as a crafter. And so if you want to be a serious blacksmith, if you want to be a great leather worker, we want to deliver the ability to invest time and energy into that, become a master crafter, be able to make items that are in demand, interact with the community. One of the big pieces that we want to do to support that is a new work order system to have a bit more convenience than just spamming trade chat all day. But if you are someone, you're not yourself a blacksmith, but you have a bunch of mats and you want them forged into a great sword, you can put that work order up, list your mats, offer a commission, and a skilled blacksmith can come along and make you the weapon of your dreams.
I think we left out one thing, though. You can be a drac'thyr, go to Dragon Isles. Can I have a dragon?
What's the fantasy of dragons, if not soaring over the lands? And so we're really excited to introduce a feature that we're calling dragon riding. It's dynamic with everything from momentum to dive bombs, the ability to just sort of build that speed up and feel the world rushing past you in a way that should be much more exciting than traditional flight that we've had debate available in the past, but that's also available for players through a customizable dragon mount right from the start.
So
like flying.
This is a skill you learn over time, right, to become an awesome dragon rider?
Yes, you'll be able to sort of upgrade aspects of your flight, but you will have this new form of flight from the start. And the dragon companion that you have is, of course, very thoroughly customizable, which is a new thing for us for mounts. This is not just a generic dragon that everyone has, but a drake that is yours. What do you want its scales to look like, horns, the shape of its head, other attachments, armor pieces, and more. Take your pick.
A to w zasadzie mamy flying w ogóle na dzień dobry.
So yes, the Dragonflight expansion is going to see players leveling to 70, going to the all-new continent of the Dragon Isles, which consists of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone for our drac'thyr class, as well as a range of systems revamps, such as a new talent system, an overhaul and update to our UI, and an entirely fresh look at professions with more depth than ever before. Also getting around the Dragon Isles is going to come in the form of dragon riding, which lets you customize and upgrade your own mount so that you can fly in a sense from the start.
Tą nową
rasą nie jest. As with any new expansion, we have a new set of dungeons, a raid, and much more to come.
We also have an alpha that will be starting up in the future.
Check out our website for more information and keep an eye out for those opt-in signups if you want to help us test out Dragonflight and give us even more feedback to make it better.
We do have a deep dive that follows this, so please stay around. Classic players, we haven't forgotten about you.
Yes.
You could probably guess where we're going to go next.
WotLK Classic,
One of the
tak.
all-time favorite
Warlords of
expansions
Draenor,
for World
tak.
of Warcraft. Let's watch the cinematic.
Co to może być? Ty, nie wiem. Did you think we had forgiven Ravgate? Nie wiem, nie mam pomysłu, co to jest, nie mam pojęcia, nie wiem. Warcraft Mobile?
My son, the day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name
Nie?
Arthas.
Shadowlands
When
Classic.
my days have come to an end, you shall be king.
Mówiłem wam, że będzie WotLK Classic. No, pod koniec 22. Tak jak mówiliśmy, to jest dosłownie tak jak nam... Tak jak rozmawialiśmy. No, pewnie pod koniec 22.
It's just incredible, isn't it? Every time I see the cinematic, I get chills. No pun intended, I get chills. As you saw, Wrath
jest
of
to
the Lich
WotLK
King
Classic, ale no niech
Classic is
będzie.
coming this year. It brings back so many memories. When you see that cinematic, what do you remember from Wrath of the Lich King?
Dzień
Anytime
sądu
you want to talk
nadchodzi.
about undead frozen dragons, how can you not go back to Sindragosa as the source? That was the first expansion I played with my youngest son. So I can remember on that platform, black goo and chunks of ice falling off and having to repeat that battle with
Nie,
the
no
Lich King.
program
But we
WotLK Classic,
finally
wiadomo, ale
downed him.
nie mam
It
jakiegoś
was such
super
an
hype'u,
incredible
to jest-
moment. He jumped up out of his room and I jumped up out of my office. We're like, yeah, did it. So it's a very
To
lasting
też to, że
tale
po
for
prostu
me.
wiedzieliśmy, że to będzie.
So as you know, with
No
this
dobra,
expansion, you will, in pre-patch, be able to play the Death Knight. They will
Whoa.
start at level 55. You don't have to have a high-level character to make a Death Knight. So
Oh.
everyone will be able to make one.
O,
We're excited to give players
Tak,
some time
oryginalnie nie
before
było.
Wrath officially launches to get geared up and ready to jump into Northrend with everybody else.
And there are so many zones and areas to explore in Northrend. And I want us to talk about some of our favorites. So for me, Grizzly Hills has a very special place in my
Storm
heart.
Peaks.
The music was some of the best I've experienced
Storm
in
Peaks.
World of Warcraft.
I still make my way all the way up to Storm Peaks to
To
try
Storm
and
Peaks.
find the time-lost proto-drake and have yet to get it.
I've got to say Dragonflight. The wide open nature of the zone, Wormrest Temple in the center of it, it's an unforgettable
było w sumie
expansion
fajnie.
as both a developer and a player and kind of making that transition from one to the other.
Now let's talk about some changes.
Some
so
changes.
One thing we look
Okay.
at is Dungeon Finder, and it
Będzie od
feels
początku.
like how we envision Classic, Dungeon Finder is not a good fit
czy
for our
nie?
community.
Czy w ogóle nie będzie?
That was kind of the first step that may have eroded some of that social fabric.
Oh,
Now, as people have
oh.
gone through the experience of going back to vanilla, rebuilding those
Okay.
groups, relying on each other,
Nie będzie to.
not wanting necessarily a random participant just to show up and then leave.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But today, you can do that in Shadowlands. You'll be able to do that in Dragonflight. It's a
Okay.
self-selected group of people who specifically want that different experience.
Yes.
Let's make sure that's what we continue to give them.
That leads right into arena teams in Burning Crusade Classic.
Oh.
So we listen to the community and we remove that because individual rating is preferable and a better experience
z drugiej
for
strony,
them
kogo obchodzi
than
PvP w
arena
klasiku,
teams.
no.
Also, with Wrath of the Lich King, Barbershop, which allows you to customize your character. We're going to be adding a few more options that were
Oh.
not existing when Wrath launched, but also there's
to nie,
another
to
side
już
of
nie jest
this where
Classic, to
we
cały
are
Classic
not gonna
Experience
charge
zrujnowali
a real
teraz.
money fee. It was a paid character customization fee, right?
Yeah.
It seems the right thing to do,
Oh.
that just be available in-game for gold, and we add more options to it, right?
It's sort of like spell
Okay.
matching in a sense.
To jest-
There's a lot of technical
Yeah, to
advancements,
zajebis-
and it's not
to jest
about the
zajebista zmiana,
philosophy
wow.
of what makes classic classic and what brings people together. It's just what's the better
Okay,
experience,
to fajnie akurat.
and let's not artificially restrict something that we can provide a better version of just for the sake of nostalgia. And this is, we're happy to say this is one of those cases.
So, Wrath,
Słusznie.
the level cap's being increased to level 80, so we'll be introducing a level 70 boost so that
Oczywiście.
players who want to get in with their friends or just explore Northrend
O matko, już
right
widzę
away
te
will be
nagłówki na
able to do
YouTubie.
that.
O matko,
You
już
can't
już.
apply it to a Death Knight, but you will be able to use it otherwise. And of course, we have Inscription, a whole new profession, so we're really excited about that. Yeah, and as we continue this road to Wrath, we're going to be looking to getting a lot more feedback on beta, and we'll make changes as we need to.
Such an exciting time to be playing World of Warcraft. We have the return of the Wrath of the Lich King for classic fans, and taking us somewhere new with Dragonflight. We're so excited to be able to bring these adventures to you. Don't forget, there's a deep dive on Dragonflight
No
where
właśnie.
you're going to get a lot more information. Thank you so much for spending this time with us.
A kiedy ten
We'll
deep
see
dive?
you in Azeroth.
And we'll see you in Northrend.
And in the Dragon Isles.
Dragon Isles, ja pierdolę. Zaczyna się teraz. Aha, okej. O!
Hi there. Welcome to the Dragonflight Deep Dive.
Yes,
I'm Steve
yeah.
Denuser.
And I'm
Yes,
Taryn
yeah.
Gregory. Starting it off here, we're going to talk about the setting and the story of Dragonflight.
We've got this great expansion, exciting pre-render trailer that everyone just watched.
Chyba
So let's talk
trzeciek
about
miał
the
rację.
setting for Dragonflight, the Dragon Isles.
Dragon Isles have been known for a long time in Warcraft history as a mysterious place where the dragons came from long ago, but we never knew much more than that.
We're going to this place that is kind of the broodlands of all the Dragonflights, the place where they nested, where they built their civilization. The Dragon Isles was the center of the Dragon's kingdom when the world was young and the mortal races were just starting to form
Tak sobie to
kingdoms of their
wyobrażałem
own.
generalnie.
But when the Legion invaded for that War of the Ancients,
tam było
that
shattering
sundering
chyba,
that
nie?
resulted from
Shattering.
the explosion of the
Sundering,
Well of
sorry.
Eternity, broke the world.
Literal sundering of the continents of Azeroth.
And because of the breaking of the world, that magic kind of drained away and the land went dormant. So they had to
Okay.
leave the Dragon Isles behind. And as we saw in the pre-render, they left behind some Titan Watchers to look over the land. And when someday
chyba
they
droga
hoped
z Dragonflight,
that elemental
ten Path of
energy
the
would
Titans, mi się
resurge
wydaje.
once again and draw the dragons home and reestablish their kingdom.
And that's when the message goes out to the flights and they feel it in their bones.
Now it's the time for the sky to light up with the colors of the aspects once again, and for Alex Straza and the others to come home. But the land has changed a lot in all these thousands of years they've been away, and some very old threats have awakened as well.
We're looking into the culture
Trochę
of
mało
dragons
powiedzieli
as
o
they
tym, co się
exist in
stało w tym
Warcraft.
filmie.
Dragons, as we know them today, were very different in the early past, the early history of Azeroth. They were much more primitive, much more savage, what we now know as proto-dragons.
And then some of the dragons were empowered to become the aspects. The green flight, red flight, blue flight, bronze flight, black flight, each with unique powers, each with the ability to protect the world in different ways. These pillars of draconic power appointed to defend Azeroth from threats within and without.
Dragons used that power both for good, in the case of most of the aspects, but also for nefarious reasons, in the case of the Black Dragonflight led by Neltharion, who would become Deathwing.
And what we will find in Dragonflight is that some of these ancient divisions run deep. And so it begs the question, where do we go from here? If this is an opportunity to
to find
reclaim
out.
their legacy, to be the protectors, as the cinematic mentioned, that they once were.
To do that, they're going to need the help of our heroes, our players,
Oczywiście.
to come to the Dragon Isles with them and face some of these reawakening challenges. Because it's not just that this land is peacefully waiting for the dragons to return and reclaim it. There's those old enemies that have awakened as
Old
well.
enemies.
One of those being a race of kind of elemental half-giants, the Jarradin.
The Dragon Isles isn't just
Okay.
populated by dragons or just by the Jarradin. There's also many other
Spokojnie
occupants
z
here
reklamą.
in the Dragon Isles. They've been here either just recently or for a while, including a fan favorite coming back, the Tuskar.
That's
No i
going to be
czemu to nie
awesome.
jest
We've got
playable
other
rasa?
cultures there as well in the Dragon Isles. We're going to find out about a civilization of centaurs that predates the ones that arose on Kalimdor much later,
And some of our favorite characters that we've seen over the last few expansions, such as Rathian.
and whether he's ready to step up into a leadership role or if there are other alternatives out there that would be better suited to the job of being the aspect of the black dragonflight.
I think one thing the players are going to be really excited about this expansion is the new playable race, the drac'thyr.
That's right.
And this is something that Neltharion, before he was Deathwing, before he went full crazy world dragon, that he put into motion.
Neltharion saw those primalists that were kind of breaking away from the aspects and what they wanted. And so in those first experiments, he took the essence of dragons, their strength, their nobility, their wisdom, and he combined it with that scrappiness, that adaptability that the mortal races had. And he wanted to use that to create the ideal soldier in his mind, the drac'thyr.
Nie, to wygląda zajebiście.
Exploration is
To
really
wygląda-
one of the
wygląda
key
dobrze.
themes of this expansion. We're going to be going to this ancient place that the dragons left behind long ago. So we've made these huge zones with all kinds of places to delve into and find little treasures and little secrets tucked away. It's going to be a lot of fun for players to be exploring these landscapes.
And there's so much architectural history and how clearly
Whoa.
aspirational was the kingdom of the dragons and how it lost so much. And the themes of trying to return to that, to try to find your legacy, to try to figure out who you were before everything went awry. But there's questions, thematic questions of what does it mean to be true to your legacy? Are we going to repeat the mistakes of the past?
The dragons have had to learn those lessons just like the mortal kingdoms have had to. And I think that's one of the reasons why the dragons see this now as the time that they have to return and they have to step up once again as protectors of Azeroth. We're helping the dragons because the dragons have helped us in the past too. So by using the Explorers League and the Reliquary together, that allows us to delve into some of that history.
And when I look upon the Dragon Isles in all of its visual splendor, I get so excited for the prospect of a truly Azerothian adventure alongside Calicos, along with Rathian, Ebonhorn, with Ysera's daughter Marithra, as each one of them is trying to find their own flights. I am taken by the exploration and the potential for adventure and just new horizons within this world.
There's going to be old stories from that time past, that history that only the dragons knew for the longest time. We're going to be able to explore that.
It really feels like just a breath of fresh air.
So now we're going to turn things over to some of our colleagues who will take you on that deep dive into the locations and the features of Dragonflight.
No okej, teraz jest system. Okay, Waking Shift.
Hello, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Josh,
I'm Jackie.
And I'm Gary.
and we're part of the teams that are building the first two zones that you'll encounter in the Dragon Isles, the Waking Shore and the Onaran Plains.
Ja, ale kurde, duże, Jezus.
The very
duże,
first zone in
takie
Dragonflight you're
sprawy.
going to come to is the Waking Shores. It's wild, untamed land. It's waking up around you too, and the elements are just going crazy.
Ale ja mam
The
taki
art
vibe
team
takiego-
again has hit it out of the park.
You'll see like a lava mountain flowing in through the beach,
takiego
giant
typowego
proto-dragon
fantasy.
swooping down, gobbling up members of your expedition.
We have such rife opportunities to show elementals rising up because of the crazy magic that's flying around.
Paczka tak.
The one of the things I love is just how you get to the Dragon Isles, right? So you're gonna get on your boat in Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and the first thing you do is sail between like the dragon ruin architectures. The boats come right alongside each other.
To
You
jak
can
to na
jump
friend,
from
na
one boat to
Holy
the other and just start causing havoc on the other faction's boat.
For those who love PvP, this is a great opportunity for war mode.
It's free for all out there. It's gonna be great. But it's okay. There's an innkeeper on the beach, so that if you're in that situation and you don't want to be in war mode anymore, you can just hop out right there.
The Reliquary and the Explorers League are working together.
The Horde and Alliance are sending an expedition together. It's not the military, it's not the soldiers. This is the scientists, the settlers,
Ale to
exploring this
fajnie,
new
to mi
land.
się
So it's a lot
podoba.
more
To mi się mega
optimistic
akurat podoba.
tone.
One of my favorite things about the Waking Shores
Jest taki
is the
przyziemny
Red
klimat,
Dragonflight,
taki-
led by Queen Alexstrasza, the Lifebinder. They have the mandate of nurturing and protecting all life, which means Horde and Alliance, Gorloks, trolls, everybody. So they take that duty seriously. When the Horde and the Alliance come to the Waking Shores, they want to be there to help guide the people through the new land and welcome them.
nie ma, że
But they're
świat się
not the
zaraz
only one
kończy.
in the Waking Shores.
We have the
To jest taka
ancestral
właśnie taka
home of
bardziej
Black
przygoda,
Dragonflight
taka-
there too,
to ciekawe.
which has fallen on tough times since Deathwing's descent. And so Rathian's coming over to the Isles with us,
boy.
and he's gonna try and come to terms with the state of the Dragonflight, which is a few loyal Draconids and Dragon Spawn trying to hold their ground. What can the future of the Dragonflight be if it's just Rathian? Because it's not just the dragons that are coming back to the Dragon Isles, but also their longtime rival, the
Ale jest
Jarden.
chorym przecież.
I love the Jardins so much. They're half giants that wield the power of magma. And when the Waking Shores and the Dragon Isles went to slumber, they also slumbered. They're back now, and they are ready to raise chaos.
Yeah, they're massive. They're riding giant lava mammoths, parading around, just stomping on your face.
And they were the enemies of the Dragonflight for so long. They fought against the Red Dragonflight, hunted dragons down, and they're really taking this opportunity to rise up. As the Red Dragonflight have the mandate of nurturing life, they don't want to just stomp out the Jarden completely, but they want to make sure that they don't have the power to affect those around them negatively, to make sure they don't go on a rampage and destroy the
No i trochę
ecosystem that
chyba
has been
zaczynają
created here.
powtarzać ten
And so
błąd,
those
co
are
powinni
awesome
wiedzieć,
things in the Waking Shore. But Steph, there really is only one right answer for the best thing in Waking Shores, right?
What?
This is true. Ducks.
We finally have those webbed feet hooligans in our game. We cracked the technology.
They
We've
can
got them.
figure
in.
it out. They
Yep.
can fly.
You should be proud.
Thank you.
It's gonna be awesome.
The Onaran Plains come right after the Waking Shores. It's so breathtaking at first glance.
The Onaran plains are big, wide open plains. And the player is going to be constricted a little bit, and then you see this big contrast of a zone. We don't always get that opportunity, that cinematic moment where the player can have a framed view when they see this area.
Come out and you got
Nie, no
that
te krainy
postcard
wyglądają
shot
love
of the
that.
plains.
mega, nie? Ale tak zawsze.
And then you see this giant fire proto-dragon breathing fire and a herd of centaur like harpoon down the proto-dragon and crash into the ground. And the first thing you get to do is go help them kill the proto-dragon. Like how cool
Oni
is that?
powtarzają moim zdaniem ten
Who
sam
is
błąd,
Onara?
co...
Onara is the
Zbyt
wild god of the
szczegółowo, moim
wind.
zdaniem.
And she's appeared before as like this big spirit eagle. She's the one who guided the centaur to the Dragon Isles many, many years ago. She blessed them, took their caravan across, and then showed them the plains.
How fun at the beginning of this expansion was exploring the culture of the centaur.
The centaur are these mighty, awesome hunters that back when they first came to the Dragon Isles, they fought the green dragons all day long. Eventually they realized that we're strong, you're strong, maybe we should stop decimating each other's people. We'll make peace, we'll make an agreement. You guys hang out in the groves and the centaur will hang out in the plains. But now the dragons have been gone for 10,000 years. And the centaur have come so far since then. And they've been here,
Tak,
and they've been
oni za dużo,
existing
oni
and
też
developing their
zgadzam się. Oni-
culture. They
to
all
jest
came
fajne
over
i
as one
interesujące, ale-
clan led by the mighty Maruk and Tira, and they founded a new life here. So if you want to get across, you
Ale
have
na
to follow their
zapowiedź
rules and
trochę
their
zbyt
traditions.
bardzo.
You have to earn their trust. You are the first outsiders to
Potem
come
mogli
in
zrobić jako osobny,
generations
wiesz,
upon
film,
generations.
osobną wrzutkę.
The centaur might rule the open plains, but the green dragons make their home in the groves. And those groves are absolutely gorgeous.
And how great a job it is that we have where I can take all of this beautiful artwork and build these beautiful fantasy groves, high fantasy. We want to
High
do lots
fantasy.
of things with an open plain, and we want to be creative with that. But we're restraining ourselves by letting the zone sing, letting the
Ale fajnie,
horizon tell
czuć
the
ten
story.
przyziemny
We
klimat,
certainly
to,
couldn't
co
have done that in
chcieliśmy,
Vanilla
no.
WoW.
Definitely not. The zones are so big and you can see so far, especially in Onaran Plains. So we talked to the engineers and we actually
systemach zaraz
increased
będzie.
that distance.
It spurs you on to want to adventure and look through the zone and explore everything.
The interesting thing for me is we have all these conflicts with the dragonflights. There's missing dragons, there's battles, there's so much crazy stuff happening, but that's not really all we're doing. There's so much extra fun activities for people to do. And the greatest thing is that you need to figure out exactly what's going on and help solve all the problems that are just sprouting up everywhere.
We're just really excited to tell a story that's grounded in Azeroth and exploration.
Grounded in Azeroth.
There's so much more to talk about. But now we're gonna have some folks talking about the next two zones that players are gonna experience in the Dragon Isles.
Muza z BFA w ogóle poleciała.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kate.
I'm Christy.
I'm Kate.
I'm Sean.
Tak,
We're going to talk
widać,
today
że
about
wracają.
Eldrastus and the Azure Span. So Azure Span is going to be the third zone that players adventure through, and it's one of our biggest zones that we've done in the Dragonflight, maybe even to date.
We knew it was going to be like the largest visual elevation change, and it really started with this great concept art. When we first were taking a look
Mam
at
wrażenie,
the
że te krainy
design,
są bardzo
we kept
takie
coming back to
szerokie,
one of
one
our
nie są
favorite
takie
wrath
skondensowane,
zones,
takie
which was
gęste,
Grizzly Hills.
jakie
And we
były.
really wanted to take that, but wowify it more.
Miałem skojarzenie
And I don't know if
z
you've ever
Grizzly
been up to the Bay
Hills, jak
Area,
to zobaczyłem.
but in the morning that coastal fog comes in and dips down into the redwoods and that sun shines through. That's really what we wanted to encapsulate with this forest. And not only we have redwoods, but we've got all different types of trees. Eventually, it'll break open into this wide open tundra that's just golden and red, and you'll reach up to another level of elevation where you get to see the snow. The majority of the zone is covered in snow and ice. We have giant frozen waterfalls, ice rivers as far as the eye can see. And Sean, I know in the forest, we can expect our first creatures.
We have a small group that lives there called the gnolls. These gnolls are all throughout the forest in Azure Span. They've made this their home. Some gnolls with strange magic that we're going to find out what exactly that's about. Snow gnolls, or as I call them, the snolls, up in the winter area. And then some regular gnolls that are just going to be around the forest area. So then we go into the big open tundra where we meet our second group, the Tuskar.
It's going to be really neat to explore their culture a lot more.
And those kids are adorable. I absolutely love the Tuskar. Honestly, all my downtime's probably just me hanging out with the Tuskar.
So it's been a little while since we've seen them. We remember the Tuskar from Wrath of the Lich King. They're also getting a nice, cool up-res for their models, along with expanding their culture. So there are going to be male Tuskar, female Tuskar, Tuskar kids. So we're going to fight alongside them, which includes help from a certain group of dragons, the blue dragons. We're going to follow the story of Kalagos, our blue dragon buddy from the Kirin Tor, and he's going to be adventuring into Syndragos' archives. It's a giant zone. There's a lot of surprises. When we're done there, we head over to Aldrazes.
Aldrazes.
It's really incredible because you will be going through some of the previous zones and seeing a lot of ruins for the dragon buildings. But when you get to Thaldrazes, everything is perfectly intact. It's beautiful. It's pristine. It is the seat of power for all 5 dragonflights and home of the dragons. It feels that way with the huge vertical mountains. We've got these great cave systems where you may end up finding little dragon hordes.
My favorite dragonflight right now is the Bronze. They've got a really cool area in Thaldrazes, and their magic is time. There's so many cool story hooks that we could dig into there. There's so many cool gameplay options, and we have a little bit of an adventure for players. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I can't wait. We really wanted it to feel like their old stomping grounds. One of the really cool features is going to be the main city and player hub for this expansion, Valdrakken. It is a culmination of all of the dragon's efforts to put together what a city would look like. So we ended up having a bunch of really fun small vignettes where you see that the blue dragonflight is hosting a public library, and the red and green dragonflights both have their own separate gardens. We'll also have some convenience services for players, including an auction house in the city, which will be really nice if you're looking for more exotic wares. The thing that really sold me on Thaldrazes was the initial concept art we got of Tierhold.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And this is a 10,000-year-old Titan technological marvel. Tierhold has these awesome aqueducts that actually come out from the structure all the way to the city across the valley. And in the cinematic, there's just this amazing shot where you see Alexstrasza swoop under one of them, and there's splashes of water cresting across her wings. So when players are flying around themselves, they get to have their Alexstrasza moment. What an incredible place and filled with so much history.
Tierhold was built by Tyr. He was a Titan Keeper back in the day who helped the Aspects fight Galakrond. And when they settled on the Dragon Isles, he built this facility. And even though Tyr's gone, the dragons have held him in reverence. But that was 10,000 years ago, and they've let the Titans maintain the place. An incredible amount of history has happened since then. Flights have been nearly wiped out. There have been invasions, betrayals. Aspects have died. And these are the kind of things that leave marks on a society. So now they're all back here, and they're all here together.
As we were designing the zone and the city itself, we're trying to figure out, how do we tell those stories at the same time as making sure that this is a really convenient place for players to go and, go shopping, as they tend to do. So much adventuring happening on the Dragon Isles. It's so cool. As a player, you probably don't have your own dragon wings. You are going to learn the art of dragon riding.
It's so vertical, and I'm just excited to dive off the tops of towers and swoop under things.
It's actually one of the things that we're about to learn about next.
Wow. Dobra, gameplayowe teraz rzeczy. A, no, mamy o tej
Hi,
nowej
I'm Jake.
I'm Andy.
I'm Kali.
And I'm Graham. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about the drac'thyr evoker, our new race and class coming in Dragonflight.
We're here to talk about not only the
evoker, but also dragon riding, which is our exciting expression into the exploration of the Dragon Isles.
We knew with a dragon-themed expansion, we wanted to let you play a dragon. Not a big dragon, Alexstrasza size. That'd be tough to fit into raids. I'm sorry, Jake. Okay. I know.
Fine.
But a draconic humanoid. So the drac'thyr, created by Neltharion.
And like our other hero classes, you get to choose if you want to start on the Horde or Alliance side on character creation.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about the evoker, the class they can be. What's unique about it is because the drac'thyr are created by an aspect, they have the ability to wield the magic of all 5 dragonflights. So evokers can take advantage of red magic and blue magic and bronze magic.
And to show that, we created a visual what we call a prismatic effect.
No?
This prismatic effect is basically the coalescence of all their energy as they channel it into whatever spell that they're going to cast. You have a red magic spell called Pyre. So when you shoot it out of your mouth, it twirls in the air with all 5 of the Dragonflight's magic as it turns into the red spell before landing on your enemies and exploding and hopefully burning them.
I'll take that one.
Getting that vibe across that they use all 5 was really important to us, but we did want to make sure that each specialization focused on 2, because casting 5 different colors gets a bit messy. So their damage dealer specialization, their first of 2, Devastation, mostly focuses on red and blue magic. Red being very fast and explosive, burning everything with Pyre, whereas blue is more focused and overwhelming. You can shoot a beam of energy out of your mouth to disintegrate one single enemy in front of you.
There's a healer spec called Preservation. The healer spec is going to focus mostly on your green and your bronze magic. So your green is going to be evocative of the Emerald Dream, your growth and your nurturing spells. And then you have your bronze magic, which is going to be more timey-wimey. So you get to heal a wound faster.
So in addition to the visuals and the animation, which all make you feel very powerful, we really wanted the player to have a physical connection to the cast. We have a new type of spell called Empower, where when you actually hold down the button on your keyboard, it charges up the spell. The longer you charge it up, it might do more damage or hit more targets depending on the spell. But it gives you this really physical connection and control that's new for World of Warcraft and I think is feeling really, really good.
We have some great animations. Thank you, Andy, your team.
You love it, Andy.
You feel physical when you're casting your spells.
You can actually fly around the battlefield and cast while you're flying.
Raining fire and death from above. It's great.
Yeah,
In addition to the gameplay, though, another part of feeling draconic is looking like a dragon.
Well, we talk about dragons breathing fire, but you know what's actually fire?
What's actually
These
fire?
customizations.
Oh my goodness.
But no, they're really, really
They're
cool.
awesome.
Because you have both your draconic form and your humanoid form. And the customization options for both of them are amazing.
They're very good.
What about color? Just tell me you
tell
can
us about
change
the
the color.
You can do a lot of matching. So your visage form can have scales that are the same color as your drac'thyr form.
But my favorite, super favorite part of customization for the visage form, hair.
Yeah.
Because I can actually do this in game.
Yeah.
The check is here.
We finally did it.
As players make their way through each of the areas of the Dragon Isles, they'll partner up with the Dragonflights to move through the air as they've never done before. You'll notice I did not say flying, because flight has a very specific meaning for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it does.
And we're talking about something new called dragon riding.
And as the players are honing their dragon riding skills, they're going to get to see all new animations that go along with the different look and feel of
Widać
the
jak się
drakes.
kamera inaczej
We're
rusza, że to
aiming
nie jest takie
to
sztywne.
shake up
To jest fajne.
movement with this new system, providing players with a deeper immersion with forces like momentum and gravity.
We knew that
To brzmi
for
super.
Dragonflight,
To
we're
brzmi
going to have the opportunity to show players a whole new set of Dragon Isle Drakes, completely unique from all the other things they've seen in World of Warcraft.
to
And
naprawdę
so
nowe.
we wanted to come up with a movement system that would add that sense of physics, weight, and gravity, like you were mentioning. We knew it was going to take a huge team effort, not just animation, but it was going to take effects. It was going to take the engineering team, who we rely on heavily, and that combined with some new animations really helps to lend that feeling of physics as you move through the air in ways that you haven't before. And the icing on the cake is going to be some really cool effects that we've added on top of all of that. So for example, when you start hitting maximum velocity, you're going to see contrails coming off the edges of the wings. And then as you do your rolls and spirals, you build up more and more speed. There's going to be some screen effects on the display to indicate that you're reaching maximum velocity. which really adds to the overall kind of immersion and sense of reality.
To naprawdę brzmi fajnie.
As players make their way through the Dragon Isles, they'll discover new cosmetic options to fine-tune their Dragon Isle Drake's appearances. Things like snoots, horns, tails, elusive Dragon Isle Drake armor, and more.
Can I have spikes?
Definitely.
Okay.
We want to provide players with all new skills to play with, as those who can use their momentum well can reach higher and higher heights and bring on new, more difficult challenges.
We just have so many new, gorgeous options to choose from, and I'm just so excited for all of them.
I'm excited for the whole thing. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to work on, but I can't wait to actually get in the game, play it with you guys.
I can't wait. I can't wait to fly around Dragon Isles. It's gonna be great.
Next up, you're going to hear about the talent revamp and the UI changes coming in Dragonflight.
No, okej, dobra, teraz czas na mięso, dobra, no.
Hello, my name is Brian.
I'm Crash.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Laura. We are very excited to share you're finally revamping the WoW HUD UI.
And it is also time for a major revamp to talents and specializations.
I have a big question for the group. How long do you think it took for us to finally revamp the WoW HUD?
My guess is like 15 years.
Close, 18 years.
18 years.
18 years.
Wow.
You know, technology has changed a lot since we made the UI back in 2004. Now you have like bigger monitors, and us, we have better dev tools to work with. So it makes sense to have the revamp right now. Also, if you look at the game today, they are evolved beautifully over the years. And if you look at the HUD looks like it got frozen time.
So when we approached this, we wanted to create a layout experience that players could customize, move things around, adjust it to fit their needs.
Add-ons today, they do a lot for player customization.
The downside is that not everybody uses them. It's about time that everybody has the opportunity to use them, that they become a part of the base UI.
Yeah, and we are working very closely with our user research team to make sure we are hitting the goals that our player needs.
It allowed us to add new functionality, to improve accessibility in a lot of areas, and on top of that, we are going to be improving the art.
Yeah, so the art update, it's a big part of this project. The UI that we have today has a lot of charm and personality, and players have been using that for 18 years. So with that in mind, we want to respect the players who really like the current UI, but do a modern take to it, removing the clutter and giving more visibility for your gameplay. So the new minimap, it looks bigger, and the health bar is also much bigger. If you look at the action bars and the bottom menus, they have less head frames, and you can really open up your gameplay, so you don't have a lot of your UI in front of you. And of course, we want to find iconic pieces from the current HUD, but we want to bring it back in a nice way. So we for sure updating the Griffins. They look so nice now. And the Horde, don't worry, we got you. You're going to have your version as well. So let's talk about the edit mode.
We are putting a mode in that will let players move various HUD elements around on the screen.
So I'm able to move the mini-map, say, from the right corner all the way over to the left corner. Or if I want to bring my action bars from the bottom and kind of put them more in the center by my character, those are all things that I'll be able to do?
Absolutely. And each of those different components will have various sets of options that you'll be able to work with. They'll be able to save it, edit it, copy it, name it. Also, it'll remember which spec you're in. So if you're someone who jumps around a lot, as you switch, it will switch to whatever HUD layout you have for that spec.
This is an ongoing project. We're going to keep working on it. So we really want to hear back from you.
A project that we're all excited about, that we've been collaborating a lot on, is something that's pretty UI intensive, and that's the talent system.
Let's go.
It hadn't changed in a long time, like you said before, and we really started with, how can we have players have more choice over what their character has? As you level up, we give you a new spell or a new ability, something that kind of makes you stronger, but it's determined by the designers. We decide the order. Yeah, we started looking for a system that would give players a much wider set of options. And after looking at all those things, what we really returned back to was the idea of trees. But it's actually two trees. We have a class tree that offer different class utility, and then we have a spec tree that is focused on performing your role, whether that's damage, tank, or healing.
Can I just jump in and say that I personally am super excited about having trees come back. There's a big nostalgia hit for me.
As we said, we have these two trees because we feel like picking a specialization is a really important part of your World of Warcraft character now. And so we want to make sure that when you choose that, it kind of affects the tree in some way. Yeah, as soon as you open your talent tree, you'll see something new. The class side will have some abilities filled out for free, just kind of starting you off in that spec you've chosen, but then you'll have your first point to spend in the class tree, which could be something related to that spec or role, or it could be something from elsewhere in the class.
There's a lot of things that we can do here, and part of that is encouraging players to perhaps make combinations that they've never really been able to see in the game before. This is an opportunity to put a lot more art and fantasy in the actual talent UI itself.
You have seen that a lot in most recent expansions, but not at the base UI.
We want you to be able to tinker with it. You know, we want you to be able to make a lot of changes at a lot of times and not necessarily have to commit. The power really is coming back to the player. It's not something we want people to feel locked into, and so one of the things that we'll be preserving is the ability to change these talents at the same kind of frequency that you do now.
Yeah, the old school players, when you see trees this time, just think, yeah, I'll go from my raid night to my arena match and figure out what I think is the best for both of those.
And that's a process we want to make really fluid. So we're building a save load feature that lets you create your build, name it, save it, and then load it up very quickly and freely.
Talents were really about the breadth of options. We've made all these different cool things over the years, but when are they at their coolest? It's when players can hold the building blocks of what can make up their class, their spec, and put them together in a way that works for them.
So these are really cool features that we've been working long and hard on, and we're very excited about them. And it's just an early preview of the things we've been doing. We can't wait to see the reaction that you have to them, and please reach out to us and let us know your thoughts on them. And next up, we're going to talk about professions in Dragonflight.
W tej postaci mi się wydaje, że to będzie miał ten sam problem, co kiedyś Drzewka, że będzie jeden meta build i w sumie tyle, nie? Ale właśnie zależy od tego, jak on to zrobił.
And we're going to talk about our plans for professions in Dragonflight. Professions have been a staple of World of Warcraft forever, and they've seen lots of really cool incremental updates over their life. But for Dragonflight, we want to do something a bit different. We really want to rethink professions and figure out how to make them part of your identity as a player, if that's what you want.
We really want to make sure that professions feel fun and relevant across all levels of gameplay.
That brings us to our first update, something that we're calling crafting orders. If you want to have something crafted for you, but you don't have the skill or the right profession to do it for yourself, you can have it crafted through a crafting order. You can basically browse any of the recipes that can be crafted, pick the one you want for yourself, and then you include some or all of the reagents needed for the recipe, including ones that only you can get your hands on. You can find someone in person to do it right in front of you for you, or you can also go to an NPC and using an auction house-like interface, send the order out. If you're doing this, you can pick, do you want to send the order to anyone, sort of a public order, or do you want to only send it to your guild, or to a specific other player? Maybe it's a friend who you know will be able to craft the item really well for you.
If you are really dedicated to your craft, you're going to be the best at what you do.
One of the coolest things about this is the item you had crafted can also be soul-bound. In the past, you could only get your hands on crafted soul-bound items by having that profession yourself. Now anyone can have them crafted for them, which is really neat and really expands the number of items that we can provide that are really powerful because everyone can have them crafted through the crafting order system.
This is also really cool because it means as a crafter, you can start building your client base. People are going to come back to you to get certain items. Maybe you're the best at making it, or you always throw in a little something extra. You're also going to be leveling up your profession. It's going to be really great.
So the first time you go to craft, you're going to notice a lot of different things, but probably the biggest is the introduction of quality, both to your crafted items and your gathered reagents. Quality works in a pretty simple way. If you craft something that's a higher quality, it's just going to be better. For a piece of gear, that probably means a higher item level. If it's, for instance, a potion, that might mean a more powerful effect at a higher quality.
And we're doing a lot of new things in the UI. We've put a lot of work into it to make sure that the professions feel really special and unique.
And another thing you might notice in the crafting UI that's new is the introduction of stats, specifically to your professions, both crafting and gathering. And this is another major input into quality. Probably the biggest source of your ability to craft items at a higher quality is through crafting specializations. We've had crafting specializations in the past, as far back as original World of Warcraft. With Dragonflight, you can go out and earn specialization points in a whole bunch of different ways. So maybe you find an old book on a bookshelf in a ruin somewhere, or a hermit in a cave who can teach you a little bit about your profession. So let's say you're a blacksmith. You might decide that first you want to become an armor smith. And the more points you spend in armor smithing, the better you're gonna get at crafting all armor.
This also means that if you specialize one way, other people in your guild may specialize in a completely different path. So this means that your guild could have several top blacksmiths and everybody's providing something unique and valuable to the team, which is really cool.
Now that reminds me of another update. We're actually adding crafting tables to all the different crafting professions. We're gonna take those and we're gonna put them all in the main city of Valdrakken. And you're gonna go in there and you're gonna get to see all the different players crafting their items at their cool crafting tables.
Yeah, it means you're gonna walk into the city and you're gonna see like all these alchemists huddled over here, and you're gonna see all these blacksmiths over by the forge. There will be other players filling orders or grabbing orders. There's gonna be a whole new crafting area that's gonna make you feel really part of the world.
It just seems like a much more lively area than it has in the past.
What I'm most excited about, though, is the gear. We're introducing new types of gear for every profession, and when you go to, say, mine and node, you're actually gonna just switch into that gear. It's gonna be really great.
You're not gonna have to carry that stuff around in your
O,
backpack
bardziej o takie
anymore.
rzeczy mi chodzi.
It's
Właśnie,
actually gonna be
bardziej
dedicated
to.
slots for
O.
each of your pieces of gear.
O, tak jak robią to
I'm a
inne
numbers
gry.
guy. I love
Spoko.
progressing.
O, to
All
jest to właśnie
pieces of
coś.
profession
No.
gear will have those special stats that we mentioned before on them.
Okay.
And as you get your hands on better versions of the gear, it's really gonna help you get better at your profession.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in to the Dragonflight Deep Dive.
You've heard a lot about the content and changes coming in Dragonflight, and we've got a lot more in store for you in the coming months.
Until then, we'll see you in Azeroth.
To kurczę, to nie jestem pewien, czy to jest to. Ja chciałbym, żeby poszli na wzór Final Fantasy trochę, wiecie, z traitami dodatkowymi, levelowaniem w ramach każdej profesji, nie? I chyba trochę... Czekajcie, to jest koniec? A, to jest koniec. I chyba tak trochę, ale nie koniecznie? Jakoś tak nie... Nie wiem, to trzeba będzie w szczególe to zobaczyć. Nie powiedzieli nawet kiedy, no nie powiedzieli, nie mamy, patrzcie, równa godzina to była. Nie mamy faktycznie żadnego przybliżenia premiery, ani nie wiem, mi się, mi się nadal wydaje, że początek następnego roku, tak nie wiem, tak ja sobie myślę, nie wiem, może, w sensie niekoniecznie sam początek, może trochę później, no nie wiem, myślę, bo oni, może to dobrze nie podali, wiecie, bo oni po prostu pewnie sami na ten moment zupełnie nie wiedzą, to może być wbrew pozorom objaw czegoś dobrego, bo po prostu wychodzą z założenia, że jakby to wyjdzie jak cykl testowy, jakby przez cykl testowy to przejdzie i będzie gotowe na release po prostu, a nie, że narzucamy sobie z góry jakiś sztuczny termin i wiecie, musimy potem wypuszczać niedokończony produkt, nie? Jakby, wbrew pozorom mi się wydaje, że to jest akurat objaw czegoś dobrego, akurat to. Natomiast wywiady pewnie, tak, to pewnie będzie więcej w tych wywiadach, tak, na pewno, znaczy mam nadzieję. Powiem szczerze, Cinematic był fajny, choć muszę powiedzieć, że nie porwał mnie, jakby nie powiedziałbym, że mnie jakoś totalnie z butów jakby wywalił, a tego się chyba spodziewałem jednak, mimo wszystko. Teraz nie mogę go znaleźć tutaj nawet. Aha, bo to było później. W ogóle feeling mam taki, że to oni do takiego faktycznie taki typowe generic fantasy, taki mam feeling. Taki niekoniecznie nawet bym powiedział warcraftowy, ale jednocześnie taki dosyć świeży pod tym względem, nie? Więc to też jestem ciekawy jakby tego całego. Ale na pewno jakby to oczywiście tutaj też jest lore Warcrafta, tak? Jest ci Titan Keeperzy, aspekty i tak dalej, ale kumacie, o co mi chodzi, nie? Że jest taki, a czy to dobrze w sumie, nie? Bo jest ten taki, coś co możemy sobie powiedzieć, że zostało spełnione faktycznie, to jest to ten taki feeling takiej przyziemności tego dodatku, nie? To faktycznie to fajnie, to tak czuć, że oni są takie, do takiego bardziej, typowego fantasy właśnie, nie? A nie jakieś tam kosmiczne jakieś tam rzeczy i tak dalej. To mi się wydaje, że jak najbardziej. Natomiast też mi się wydaje, że tutaj jakby fajnie, że mówię o Ukrainach, ale na tego typu formę to uważam, że albo mogli to dać może na koniec o tych krainach, jakby to kompozycyjnie, nadal mi się wydaje, że ogólnie rzecz biorąc, jakby te trailery mogłyby być trochę fajniej jakby tak przemyślane, tak, kompozycyjnie. Co tu jeszcze było? Właśnie jednocześnie było niby dużo, ale zabrakło mi strasznie czy przykładów tych talentów konkretnych, czy tych, kurde, tego giru, tego profesjowego. No i ta nowa klasa. Kurde. No nie wiem, jestem ciekawy w sumie, jestem ciekawy, chociaż nie powiedziałbym, nie powiem, że jestem jakiś super turbo zahypowany, nie wiadomo co, ale jakby też nie że negatywnie, tak dokładnie tak samo właśnie jak mówiłem, jakby odpowiadając na pytanie, czy jaram się na dodatek z tematyką smoków. Jakby nie mówię, że nie, ale jednocześnie nie mówię, że to jest coś, co jakby mnie spytać, co bym chciał, to bym powiedział, że to. Prawdopodobnie bym nie powiedział, więc nie wiem, zobaczymy. A u was jak? Hype czy nie? Tak, hype czy nie? O, to takie pytanie. Średnio, nie. Umiarkowany, 60% hype. No właśnie, jestem też bardziej w tej grupie umiarkowany, taki wiesz, rozsądnych granicach, że takich... Nie powiedziałbym, że kompletnie nie, ale no tak jestem, tak wiesz, jestem ciekawy, w ten sposób po prostu, tak bym powiedział. Ale jest parę rzeczy, które naprawdę mi się podoba jako idea, tylko raz jeszcze zobaczymy. Nadal się czuję tak, że jakby o niektórych rzeczach chciałbym się o wiele więcej dowiedzieć. Ale też, wiecie, może trzeba się liczyć z tym, że ten dodatek może być na ten moment, zwłaszcza, że daty nie ma, no to powinniśmy się liczyć z tym, że on jest jeszcze w bardzo early, wiecie, konceptach, nie? Ale znowu, były też fajne, że na przykład mi się podobało to z tym lataniem. Ten cały system, że będziemy mieć te swoje smoki, będziemy to kustomizować i tak dalej. To brzmi spoko, to brzmi naprawdę fajnie moim zdaniem, nie? No ale co, no krainy fajne klimaciki. Nie no, krainy są zawsze zajebiste, no jakby no umówmy się, jakby co do krain ja nie mam żadnych wątpliwości, że będą fajne, nie? Jakby na pewno będą, wiesz, i ciekawe, i artystycznie fajnie zrobione, jakby to zawsze, ja uważam, że w każdym dodatku są mega, jakby Art Team robi mega krainy, więc to w sumie mogę tak w sumie nawet też powiedzieć, że samymi Dragon Islesami i tym, co w nich będzie, jak one będą zaprojektowane i tak dalej, to faktycznie muszę powiedzieć, że tego jestem ciekawy bardzo. No. Zwłaszcza, że oni jakoś tak mają taki... Raz jeszcze, mam ten taki feeling, że oni tak bardzo chcą pójść ten taki, wiecie, taki fantazy, taki oni nie powiedzieli, high fantasy feeling, nie? To wiecie, to znaczy, że oni mogą tam naprawdę w ciekawe strony, kurde, polecieć z tym. Nie, to akurat nie, to z tym się nie zgodzę. Akurat to uważam, że to jest zmiana, która jakby wielu ludzi, typu, no nie wiem, jak graczy, tak, jakby niezbyt doceni, no bo i tak gramy na addonach i tak dalej, ale moim zdaniem nie ma co nie doceniać tego, że to jest ważne. Dla takiego bardziej niedzielnego, casualowego gracza to jest ważne, moim zdaniem. I ja tam się cieszę, że oni to robią. I tak bardzo późno to robią, nie? Wyglądają cały fragment, że na fazie zacznie po prostu jak skończył PTR. No tak, no znaczy no mówię, no myślę, znaczy nie wiem, ciężko powiedzieć w sumie ile to jest jeszcze przed nami, ale wydaje mi się, że to trzeba się w cierpliwość tutaj trochę uzbroić. Cinematic najgorsze, nowa rasa tragicznie, klasy dziwnie, w sensie klasa, równie może być, zmiany ciekawe, równie... Znaczy, nie powiedział, że to był zły Cinematic, on po prostu zabrakło tam takiego pieprznięcia dla mnie. To, że modele tej nowej rasy wyglądają jak modele tych kaczek jest słabe, tej nowej rasy, okej? To, że zmiany w UI feature dodatku słabe, może faktycznie byli się na tym skupiać aż tak, w trailerze może. Cinematic bazuje właściwie nic po... Właśnie to jest dziwne, nie? Bo to jest znowu podobnie jak było przy 9.2, że tu jest niby dużo, ale w sumie mało z konkretów, tak? To też zauważam coś takiego. Latanie lasy z innymi motami, kustomizacja smoków. No weź, no to jest tam, wiadomo, osobny temat, nie? Okej. Linka zobacz, upcoming primalist right tier concept. Ale to jest Blizzard. Blizzard has revealed the concept of upcoming primalist right tier for all 13 klasy. Okej, mamy nowe sety już z rajdu, tak? Kurde. Czekajcie. A to jest ciekawe. Nie no, na koncept arcie wyglądają mega, nie? Mam nadzieję, że nie popełnią tego samego błędu tylko co co w Zeref Mortis, w sensie w Sepulcher i zrobią kolory dostosowane pod klasy bardziej, nie? A nie tylko i wyłącznie pod tematykę rajdu, nie? Nie no, na koncept arcie wyglądają bardzo fajnie, nie? To pewnie jest Warrior. Nie no, fajne, czekajcie, co tu jeszcze? Nie wiem, że nowe modele wyglądają źle, wyglądają dzisiaj. Znaczy, ja też nie jestem jakiś zachwycony chyba tą nową rasą, jakoś tak. Ale ja też bym nie powiedział, że to jakoś mega źle wygląda. Nie no, bez przesady. Nie wiem, ale to bym jakoś tak nie... Mnie osobiście chyba po prostu jakby sama fantazja jakby tego Drakonida niekoniecznie porywa, ale to tak jak mówiłem wcześniej, ja tu jestem jak najbardziej w stanie być, wiesz, taki otwarty na zasadzie, okej, może mnie sprzedać. O właśnie, tego mi kurczę zabrakło, tego mi strasznie zabrakło. Strasznie mało powiedzieli o tej nowej klasie. Strasznie mało powiedzieli, naprawdę, ja myślałem, że oni tam... Będzie więcej, okej, były tam 2 czy 3 przykłady jakby tych nowych tam, kurde, tych abilitów, ale tak myślałem, że więcej tego będzie. Jakoś tak, nie wiem, to mnie trochę to mnie trochę zabrakło player housing, no ale wiesz, no, też chciałem player housing, no ale wiesz, to jakby to nastawianie się na to, że będzie player housing, to wiesz, to jest ta sama historia co dodatek, nie? Aha, że nie, no, że wiemy dużo, a nie wiemy najważniejszego tego kontekstu. Tak, też się z tym zgadzam, nie? Jakby, i to też no, mnie na tym cinematiku tego trochę zabrakło. Jakby wiecie, co tam się stało, jakby co to było, jakby tak. Wiadomo, no nie powiedzą teraz wszystkiego, ale. Tak, zgadzam się. Tam zabrakło takiej trochę kontekstualizacji tego. Tak, bo tak w sumie oglądasz to, no, ale co to jest, czemu to jest, o co wiesz, no. No, to prawda, to z tym się zgodzę. O fabule nic nie powiedzieć. No, tak, nie, macie rację. Faktycznie było bardzo mało jakby w ogóle było dużo jakby o krainach jakby i tym, czemu tam, że w krainach są smoki i tam się lubiły z tymi czy coś, ale jak chodzi o tą główną fabułę dodatku, faktycznie bardzo mało było powiedziane. To macie rację, tak teraz sobie o tym pomyślałem. Też tak porównując to z poprzednimi zapowiedziami. No, macie rację, bardzo mało było powiedziane na temat fabuły, tego co się stanie konkretnie. Chociaż coś, co mnie bardzo ciekawi, to jest właśnie też ten vibe, którego powiem szczerze, że się nie spodziewałem, bo raczej Blizzard tego nie robił za bardzo poprzednio, że naprawdę mam wrażenie, że ta fabuła tego dodatku może być taka, że to jest taka totalnie, wiecie, taka przygoda, nie? W sensie, wiecie, nie będzie tutaj granej... Blizzard chyba pierwszy raz tutaj nie będzie grał tej karty, że jest globalne zagrożenie i musisz się herosie tam, wszyscy tam, Alliance, Horda, wszyscy mogą się tym zainteresować, bo świat wybuchnie. Tam faktycznie jest, wiecie, ten motyw, że wiecie, że Explorer, Slick tam i ten Reliquary tam pewno po stronie Hordy tam wyjeżdża i takie bardziej jak Wesy na przykład to robią, nie? Tak, nie wiem, może się mylę, ale tak to zrozumiałem, że tak to robią i powiem szczerze, jestem tym bardzo zdziwiony, w sensie nie spodziewałem się tego, że to zrobią, ale jeżeli tak to robią, to jest bardzo fajne. To uważam, że to jest dobre, jakby dobry kierunek. Ale muszę powiedzieć, że to tym jestem zdziwiony. Riva profesji wyglądać obiecująco. Talenty nieco na W2, latanie na smoku, natomiast także ogranicza północno. Znaczy, znowu, to jest z tą rasą, klasą dla mnie to jest po prostu to, że mało o tym wiemy, więc jakby wiesz, to może być zajebiste, tylko nie wiem, no mieliśmy przykłady co 2 abilitów. A czy nie, no, jakaś tam fantazja jest tam, akurat kontekst jakby taki fabularny tego, lorowy gdzieś tam przedstawili, on brzmi całkiem ciekawie, ale to też zobaczymy, nie? Jest trochę słabe kolony, A co do profesji jeszcze, profesje to jest też coś, czego mi tam trochę czegoś zabrakło, w sensie jak usłyszałem o revampie profesji, to się na maksa zajarałem, ale jakoś tak... Tam było dużo skupienia na tym, żeby profesje znowu się tam liczyły, wiecie, ekonomicznie, że można ich zarabiać, że itemy się robi i tak dalej. Ale jakby ja bardziej liczyłem na nacisk, choć on też się pojawił tam na koniec. Bardziej, wiecie, żeby profesje były contentem samym w sobie, nie? Mi bardziej zależało w profesjach na czymś takim typu, że sam proces craftowania będzie jakiś ciekawszy, typu wymyślam teraz z głowy, tak, że nie wiem, albo że będzie sam crafting, to będzie jakaś minigierka na przykład, tak, albo tam, no nie wiem, albo właśnie cały tam, tak jak w Final Fantasy, tak, że to jest jakby całe levelowanie osobne, że ma tam swoje skille i tak dalej. Oraz jeszcze to przelot czegoś takiego też się chyba pojawił z tymi itemami związanymi z craftingiem i osobnymi slotami na nie. To jest fajne, ale ja się po prostu boję, że to jest trochę za mało w stosunku do tego, co ja osobiście chciałem od tych profesji. Odświeżonych krain nie ma, no to prawda. A o pierwszym rajdzie w ogóle nic nie ma chyba, nie? Czy ja coś ominąłem? Nie było chyba nic w ogóle nawet o rajdzie mówione. Czy to ja już odleciałem? Właśnie w ogóle te systemy. Właśnie, tam i on mówił o zmianie podejścia do systemów i tego, żeby alty były bardziej, przecież ich teasowali na początku. Nic o tym nie było potem. nie powiedzieli nic o tym, że nie wiem, że systemy będą, jak w ogóle o systemach mało było jako taki ten dodatek. Było o tych talentach, ale to może faktycznie po prostu będą te talenty i nie będzie jakiegoś takiego, wiecie, big hitter, jakby, wiecie, systemu stricto dodatkowego. Tak chyba z tego musi wynikać, że to jakby te talenty jakby zastępują to, tę sferę i to jest dobrze. I to jest dobrze, bo tak, jeżeli dobrze to rozumiem, to jest naprawdę dosłownie spełnienie moich marzeń sprzed tego filmiku sprzed 2 dni, żeby wypracować jeden szkielet, patrz te talenty i żeby go przemycać na następne dodatki. Jestem ciekawy, czy będą wymieniali, jak podejdą do wymiany tych traitów i tak dalej. Ale tu faktycznie, ja myślę, że tutaj fajnie, że tak powiem, to wszystko pachnie. O, mam Monstera. Cinematici. Jeszcze orki, housing nie połączyli. Nie no, raz jeszcze, no ja housing też chciałem, no ale ja nie jestem zdziwiony, że go nie ma, nie umówmy się. Jest orać na stronie, okej, to zaraz zobaczymy. Znaczy zobaczymy, bo raz jeszcze hintowali to, że coś tam zrobią z tymi systemami, jakiegoś account white czy coś, ale... Kurde, nie wiem, o, inaczej, słuchajcie, zabrakło panelu, gdzie jest Ion i mówi o tym. To jest to, czego zabrakło, czego tu nie było. Nie wiem znowu czemu. Oficjalnie jest więcej info, okej, dobra. Dobra, to zapewne na WotLK'ie już jest też post o tym, nie? Next expansion, reveal... Okej, może tu będzie więcej. Jaka frakcja? Nie wiem. Jest droga, smok, nie jest więcej. Mam 4 Znaczy, mi się akurat podoba to, że nie ma takiego globalnego zagrożenia i że to jest bardziej potraktowane jako to, że to jest taka przygoda, taka przyziemiona bardziej. Akurat to jest coś, co mi się osobiście podoba. Napiszcie się później na batę. Czekajcie, ale właśnie, right? Death Knights, WotLK Classic, sign up to się potem zapisze. Reveal, next expansion. Tu jest o tych setach. Key art to nie. Dobra, to może to będzie gdzieś tutaj. Filler epizod nic złego? Niekoniecznie, to też zależy jakby... Znaczy wiecie, nie, to też bym jeszcze nie przesadzał, bo wiecie, my nie wiemy, co się stanie w trakcie tego dodatku, no, tam nadal mogą być jakieś... Ja szczerze powiedziawszy podejrzewam, że to mimo wszystko taką formę przybierze, że im bardziej i dalej będziemy na tych Dragonflightsach i im dalej w dodatek, tym bardziej będzie ta taka, wiecie, właśnie skala, że coś trzeba zrobić, no bo to tam, bo to jest niebezpieczne, bo tam Azeroth się rozleci. Tam było mówione o tym, że Azeroth się przebudza przecież, nie? Co swoją drogą, gdzieś tam w sumie spełniło to, co chciałem, żeby tam ten tylko... Bardziej jest nacisk na smoki, ale że ta Azeroth też, nie? Ja myślałem, że będzie odwrotnie. Ja myślałem, że właśnie będzie główną tematyką będzie, że Azeroth się przebudza, a smoki będą jakby takim wątkiem obok. Teraz tu uświadomiłem, że jest to, tylko dokładnie jakby odwrócone. No. Nie podali daty. Dobra, najpierw zacznijmy od tej klasy w takim razie, wszystko po kolei. New, raz, tego i tak dalej. To jest to, zakładam, co było, tak? No tak, to jest to, co oni tam mówili. Czy to jest coś więcej? Tu customize, no tak, Allegiance, Intro Experience, no to wiadomo, będzie takie Death Knightowe pewno. Bardzo dziękuję za donate'a, mam mieszane, bardzo dziękuję za donate'a, mam bardzo mieszane uczucia, podchodzę do samego dodatku, że nie będzie jakiś wroga, no rozumiem, no to jest takie chyba przeważające, takie jeżeli hype to umiarkowany. Empowered abilities. A nie, to o tym wspominali. To brzmi jak ciekawa mechanika, ale raz jeszcze trochę... No mało, kurde, to jest. No w sensie nie wiem, ja przesadzam waszym zdaniem? Że strasznie mało tej nowej klasie jest? To jest dziwne, bo jest 6-minutowe preview? Ale ja mam wrażenie, że ja prawie, że nic się o tej... Znaczy no nie nic, no ale takie ogólniki bardzo. No nie wiem, tak mi się wydaje. Barwniki do transmogów. Cześć, stop! Bardzo dziękuję za subeczkę. Właśnie, włączę alerty w ogóle z powrotem, jak już o tym mówimy. Czekaj, to chyba mi to przeleciało. Barwniki do transmogów, tam było mówione to? To mi to chyba przeleciało przez oczy. Czekaj, co ty gadasz, że tam było to powiedziane? Save. O, teraz alerty chyba powinny wrócić. Bardzo dziękuję za subeczki i też te poprzednie, które były z alertami wyłączone. Nie? Aha. Aha, dobra, nie było, okej. Nowej klasy takiej gry jest błędów dużych jest. Tak, też, znaczy, no to wiecie, tak? To tego to nawet nie mówiłem już, ale ja też uważam, że to jest... To nie jest kierunek, którym powinniśmy iść, dodawać nowe klasy cały czas. Ja myślałem, że oni już się tego nauczyli, ja myślałem, że oni już nie będą szli w tę stronę. Ale no to tutaj to jednak chyba tak. No i nieco tych, o Jezu! A tak miałem nadzieję na te class skiny jakieś takie, ojej. Teraz się uświadomiłem, że że nie zobaczyłem tego. O, szkoda. Może kiedyś. Beka będzie zapowiadał się na koksowanych, będzie klasy, które nie pasują do reszty. Znaczy nie, no jakby generalnie to brzmi zwłaszcza ciekawie, to jakby, że trochę inna będzie właśnie ta mechanika, nie? Czy to będzie jak Demon Hunter, nie mam pojęcia, ciężko powiedzieć. Coś chyba w dzień dodatku, skoro teraz nie ma preordera. A właśnie, nie ma preordera już od razu. Nie, to też jest w sumie niespotykane. Zawsze po ogłoszeniu od razu preordery szły. To słuszna uwaga. No dobra, a ten raid ja bym chciał teraz jeszcze znaleźć. Nie, to aha, to jest post, w którym w sumie nic nie ma. Ma ktoś link do jakiegoś czegoś, gdzie mówię więcej o nowym rajdzie? Czekajcie, może w sumie setach tutaj jest więcej mówione. Primalist. Nie, też tutaj nic nie widzę. Czekajcie, sprawdzę, czy alfę mi wysłali w sumie. Dobra, wejdź na oficjalną, faktycznie, bo w headzie patrzę, a to mogli jeszcze nie wrzucić. Kurde, nie mam na e-mailu jeszcze alfy. Kurde. Okej, to wejdźmy na World of... co jest? World of Warcraft. Official website. To jest ta. Okej, Dragonflight revealed. Dragonflights of Azeroth will soon return i tak dalej. Subscribe now. Okej, new roundup. Tutaj jakieś WotLki. W ogóle to jest śmieszne, bo ja bardzo rzadko w gruncie rzeczy bywam na głównej stronie WoWa. Jak się na to zastanowić. Nie, to są te, to czekajcie, to tu, I guess, kliknę. To jest ta zapowiedź, Dragon, Wrath of the WotLK Classic. Też tutaj nic jakiegoś specjalnego nie widzę. Czy jestem jakiś głupi? Może tu? O! Dobra, no to chyba jest to. Beta opt-in, wiadomo, Discover the Dragon Knives, New Playable Race. Okej. Jak kliknę na przykład Empowered Abilities. Nie no, to jest to, co oni mówili wszystko. Become a Dragon Rider. O, tutaj mamy jakieś takie bardziej przykłady tych smoków. Pterodactyl. Okay. Ten mi bardzo przypomina tego warriorowego z Legionu, z Class Order Hallu. Nie, muszę powiedzieć, że to naprawdę, to mnie ciekawi. To mi w sensie jakby to jako system gameplayowy, to mi się kojarzy na przykład z tym, jak mnie ciekawił taki koncept przy Battle for Azeroth, żeby wiecie, żeby mieć własne statki i żeby nimi tam na te ekspedycje byśmy ruszali, je kustomizować i tak dalej. To mi się kojarzy dosyć podobnie. Special moves, Drake will answer new maneuvers. No okej. Skill tree cały once you reach the maximum level. Fajnie. Ciekawie, pewnie tak sobie myślę, że oni pewnie też tym będą lokować content, czy tam jak to woli time gate'ować, że trzeba będzie rozwinąć w tym drzewku jakieś dokładne tam traity, żeby móc się dostać na przykład w niektóre miejsca i dlatego dopiero po czasie będziemy mogli na przykład niektóre tam miejsca krainy tam wejść, coś takiego. Tak mi się wydaje, że oni to tak robią. No jest New Continent, Ride or Dive. Okej, new ways to play, new talent. O, czekajcie, tu sobie wejdę w ten talent system. Tu jest coś więcej? Nie, kurde, nic tu nie ma więcej. Ja bym chciał chociaż to jakiś, nie wiem, jakiś bardziej... No ciekaw jestem, w którą... Ja wiecie, co mnie najbardziej ciekawi w kontekście tego? Mnie nawet nie ciekawi samo to, jak to będzie wyglądać, tylko mnie najbardziej... Znaczy to też oczywiście, ale mnie najbardziej ciekawi, jak oni to zaplanowali, to... w perspektywie długofalowej, w perspektywie lat, następnych dodatków i tak dalej. W którą stronę to będzie iść? Czy oni serio znowu będą, kurde, dodawać co każdy dodatek następne, kurde, drzewka i będzie ten sam problem co kiedyś? Kurczę, tak aż... ciężko mi wierzyć, że pójdą w tę stronę. A może faktycznie będą to jakoś wymieniać, nie? Ale to pewnie się dowiemy nawet nie wraz z premierą dodatku, tylko to się dowiemy pewnie na koniec dodatku dopiero. Additional features, new level cap, dungeons. O, patrzcie. Jest raid, dobra. New dungeons, fight to reclaim Neltarus, stronghold of the Black Dragonflight, explore previously unknown chambers of Uldaman? Damn! Uldaman! O, to brzmi ciekawe. Defend the life pools of the Red Dragonflight and more. Okej. Alright. Ale to mnie Uldaman mnie bardzo ciekawi. Venture into the ancient prison of the primal incarnates before their movement power can be unleashed against the dragon aspects. I patrzcie, i to znowu... Znaczy, nie wiem, bo może my się dowiemy czegoś więcej, ale zwróćcie uwagę tutaj na jedną rzecz w tym opisie. Musimy powstrzymać jakiś primal incarnates. To chyba, to zakładam, że to będzie jakiś raid w stylu chyba jakiś taki elementalowy, tak mi się to kojarzy. Też po tych setach tak patrzę. Ale zwróćcie uwagę na końcówkę, że zagrożenie jest takie, że their power can be unleashed against the dragon aspects. I tutaj nie ma już tego, co zawsze, że zanim, jak one ich nie powstrzymamy, to świat się skończy, a zero wstopnieje, coś tam. Tutaj jest to stricte ograniczone jakby do Dragon Aspect, jakby tej historii. I to jest naprawdę coś, co mi się podoba. Serio, to jest jakby objaw czegoś, co mi się podoba. Chociaż, no raz jeszcze, może to podejrzewam, że to gdzieś tam będzie przebierać na koniec dnia, gdzieś tam będzie iść w tę stronę, że to jest jednak takie zagrożenie, takie bardziej globalne, ale ten taki jednak nacisk na tą taką bardziej przyziemność tej konkretnej historii mi się podoba. Dobra, co tu jeszcze? Aha, to są screenshoty, ale to żeśmy też widzieli na tych filmikach, nie? O kurde. No okej. Beta and game, no to jest już beta opt-in. No dobra. To mamy. Będzie jakieś podsumowanie, też zapis live? Tak, będą oba rzeczy. Będzie, na pewno wrzucę to na kanał live, zapis tego. I i też będę, no, zrobię filmik o tym, no na pewno zrobię, jak sobie, tak wiecie. To są takie moje pierwsze myśli, nie? Wiecie, jak się na tym potem usiądę i się zastanowię, albo teraz będziemy się wspólnie zastanawiać, to wiesz, to może pewne rzeczy, pierwsze wrażenie się może zmienić, nie? Jak myślisz, będzie nowy mission table? A też ciekawe pytanie, czy będzie nowy mission table? Faktycznie nic o tym nie było. No, ciekawe, czy będzie nowy mission table. Jeżeli miałbym obstawiać, to myślę, że będzie. Myślę, że będzie, ale faktycznie nie było o tym mowy. Ale myślę, że będzie. Myślę, że będzie w jakiejś formie. Siemaneczko, kiedy Lipcast? A, zobaczymy. Myślę, że niedługo. I co jeszcze? Co do tego smogu mi się nie podoba, zmiana talentów to jak najbardziej. Nie no, jakby... Umówmy się, powiedzmy sobie szczerze, z tą zmianą talentów oni tutaj bardzo grają na nostalgii, tak? Na tym, że ludzie tam się że talenty znowu tamtego, to co kiedyś, super i tak dalej, ale wiesz, ja naprawdę myślę, a w zasadzie to mam nadzieję, że oni właśnie, to jest to co mówiłem wcześniej, że oni nie zrobią to według tego schematu z kiedyś, bo był słuszny powód, dla którego ten schemat z kiedyś, ciągłej rozbudowy klas, który nie znika, który zostaje jakby, no dlaczego z tego odeszli? Był pewien bardzo słuszny jakby powód ku temu. I dlatego właśnie, to jest to co mówiłem, że się zastanawiam, jak to będzie wyglądać w tej dłuższej perspektywie. Nie to, co ujrzymy, tylko to, co będzie dalej, nie? Jak oni ten system potraktują, jak się na przykład skończył już Dragonflight i będzie tam Lightlands, dodatek czy coś, nie? No ale to z tym to myślę będziemy musieli jeszcze poczekać i to tak solidnie. Chyba, że powiedzą coś wprost, ale na przykład zwróćcie uwagę na to, że jak był Legion, to oni nie powiedzieli nam wprost, że zabiorą artefakty na koniec dodatku, pomimo tego, że ewidentnie taki był plan, nie? Więc zobaczymy, nie? Może być najlepsze zdanie bez kontynuacji detektywowe. Szczerze, okej, no to są takie parę finalnych słów podsumowania. To absolutnie, tak jak napisałeś, absolutnie, to może być przezajebisty dodatek. To może być świetny, to może być najlepszy dodatek po prostu ever. Ale może też nie być. Może być też bardzo słaby. Jakby, ja szczerze, znowu mam trochę podobny vibe, nie ten sam, bo to jednak tu trzeba być uczciwym, że nie ten sam, ale trochę podobna taka sytuacja jest dla mnie jak przed 9.2. Że jakby... Ciężko, kurde, stwierdzić. Osobiście ja jakiegoś super tam hype'u mega tam nie czuję, ale jakiś tam hype mimo wszystko czuję, jakby bardzo jestem ciekawy samych Dragon Islesów, muszę powiedzieć. Samo to mnie, jakby bardzo mnie te krainy jako takie mnie bardzo, jakby mam jakby to, co im się udało we mnie zrobić, to pobudzić taką ciekawość, taką chęć, takie, wiecie, eksploracji, wiecie, magiczne miejsce tamtego i tak dalej, że tam się jakieś tam ciekawe rzeczy dzieją. To jakby to z mojej jakby perspektywy, to jestem tego bardzo ciekawy. A o historii na przykład, wiesz, właśnie i to jest to, nie? A historia na przykład, główna fabuła. Zapowiada się dobrze czy źle? No nie wiem. Nie mam pojęcia, bo w zasadzie nic o tym nie wiemy, nie? I mówię, dlatego to jest podobne trochę z 9.2. To może być świetne, może być nieświetne. Ale może być może być dobre, tak? Może być dobre. A pamiętajmy, że tak było z 9.2, a 9.2 się okazał fajnym patchem generalnie dopiero, tak? Wiecie, zapowiedź to jest jedno, a właśnie to, wiecie, co będzie, to jest drugie, zwłaszcza właśnie jak zapowiedź jest taka dosyć wybrakowana w informacje. A moim zdaniem jest. Moim zdaniem tutaj zabrakło. Tu zabrakło trochę szczegółów, moim zdaniem. No i zobaczymy, no. To co?